Now, a fresh look at today's top stories and what people are talking about in America's finest city. It's Inside San Diego.
Well, most of us see a doctor for a physical, but when was the last time you had a real estate checkup?
We're going to call him the real estate doctor.
Sure.
He's Robert Boyer. He's here with us this morning to tell us how we can handle one of our biggest investments. Good morning to you.
Hi, guys. How you doing?
Thanks for being here. I think the big question everyone is asking is what is going to happen in 2008? And what do you, I mean, it's hard to predict, but what are your thoughts on some of the changes, the real estate trends in 2008?
I think all the negative publicity that we've had for the last year, people think that we're going back for 2 years, is really not going to happen. It's going to be a much better buying year than people anticipate because there are a lot of things going on, especially with the economics right now, that the prices are still going to drop a little bit, but we're going to see a lot more activity, and I think we're going to see more sales this year.
Well, when you say publicity, I mean, the media is not making this up. A lot of the real estate folks in the business are telling us the next year, the next 18 months might be pretty tough.
Right. They are, but
Yeah.
they're also doing things like foreclosures have gone up 353%.
Right.
Right? Well, we've gone up from 1/5 of 1% to 2/3 of 1%. So
Still
there's
very minimal.
It's
is what you're saying,
minimal.
on the market.
Technically, it shouldn't affect the market, but emotionally and all the play up that it's got, it's had a detrimental effect. And it also does add more inventory and reduce prices in the neighborhood.
Okay, in the last couple of weeks or so, and especially in the last couple of days, we've seen a lot of things coming out about the stimulus package and the changes in some of the rate structures. How will that affect the market?
We're already seeing that affect the market. Interest rates were down. Yesterday, they were the lowest that they've been in 4 years since March of 2004.
You're talking for what kind of loans?
Both. Conforming loan, there was a 5 1/4 yesterday, no points, 30-year fixed. And for a jumbo, it was just over 6%, 7/1 ARM, no points. So these are great rates. I mean, this is where we were 4 years ago.
So what you're saying is really time to do a check on your own home and your rate, and maybe it's time to jump back in there and refinance those type of things.
Absolutely,
possible?
especially if you've got a fixed rate that's about to reset and you're looking at having a 30-year fixed and not having that worry anymore in the future. I mean, that'd be great to get rid of that.
Sure.
Let's talk about jumbo loans because that a lot of people here have to have them to buy a home with the cost of the market here.
Right.
We've been hearing that you cannot refinance these loans because the banks don't want to take responsibility for a certain percentage of the home.
Right.
They want you to have an investment in it. Is that still the case, 100% financing? Because that's what a lot of people did.
Right. The financing is tough. The lending standards are much more strict, but I think it's actually great as a long-term effect because when you're in a storm, you put all the ballast at the bottom of the boat to reduce all that sway. We also have the FHA looking at raising that limit up to $700,000 so that the government will take responsibility for that. Right now it's $417,000. And there are loans out there, but they do want you to have skin in the game.
The housing market itself, are there really deals out there to be had right now for people who want to jump in and buy?
Yes.
What do you think?
There are deals, especially in foreclosures, because typically they come on at about 20% under market. And because the banks need to get those off their books. So first-time home buyers, it's a great time for them to get in because we're back at '04 prices, and in the last 4 years, their salary would have gone up about 12% at 3% a year, so they're really better off than they were 4 years ago, and the prices are actually down to where it's reasonable. Affordability is up.
Okay, we have a list. Why don't we throw the list up there of 5 things that you're expecting in 2008? Well, let's talk about each one of them as we go along.
Things to
Okay?
watch.
I believe we've got them.
You said not an easy year.
Right. It's still going to be tough. Things are still moving slowly. We're going to have more foreclosures.
Right. Okay.
And aggressive prices. People who desperately need to sell, they need to be realistic about their price.
Okay.
You think the market is stabilizing, however?
I think it is, because we've got all these things that used to be pushing the prices downward. Now we've got the opposite side of the pendulum swinging back in terms of bolstering those, especially with the economic stimulus
What about
package.
I'm sorry, but what about the people who say, okay, but it's still another 12 months. Maybe it's best. I'm going to hold on a little bit longer because maybe it's not going to get better for like 12 to 18 months. You're saying go ahead if you're in the mood to buy now, buy now?
Absolutely. Don't look to buy and flip it. But if you're going to buy and you're going to stay there for a while, well, yeah, but if that's going to be your home for 5 or 7 years, this is a great time. You won't get hurt because prices may come down a little bit more, and I expect them to, but they're going to end up coming back up, and you won't get hurt.
And who knows when it's going to hit the bottom, so, you know.
And you won't know till we've passed it.
Yeah, you will have missed it. Any particular areas, real quickly, that you think are really great areas to look at in the county? Is that tough to say right now?
That's tough to say. There's a huge amount of foreclosures down in the Chula Vista area, so there are great prices down there if that's an area that's good for you, for your work, for your business.
All right, Dr. Rubber Boyer, thank you very much.
Thank you.
For being optimistic for us. It's not always. Thank you.